happening, people? Happy Monday, man. How you lot doing? I seem a bit chirpy for an absolute snooze fest of a game yesterday. You'd think that Man United got 3 points based on how I'm feeling today. But big up to everyone. Be sure to hit the like button, guys, and be sure to subscribe as well if you are new here. You guys know the rules, man. You come in, you wipe your feet, you say hi to everyone in the chat, and you hit the like button. If you want to join the membership club as well, you can. It's the pinned comment in the chat. You get your badges, you get your emojis, you get your custom member content, and of course, you get to support the growth of the channel. It's a busy day of content. You lot know Monday afternoons or / evenings are always the most busiest for me because it's Daily Dose of Minute, then a Straight Jacket podcast, and then it's the red carpet. And I'm back on both of them now that obviously Ramadan has ended. So big up to everyone. Let me know your thoughts below. How you lot doing? How's your day been? Before we get into the really nitty gritty stuff and we get into the football talk, just, how are you guys doing? How's everyone been? How's your weekend been? The sun is shining here in the UK, which automatically increases my mood levels by like 50%. Like, not even 50%. I'd actually say by like 80%. My mood levels increase. I went for a long walk today, about an hour and a bit, ran all my errands. And I don't normally walk, guys, but because I'm so reliant on always like driving, I thought, you know what, this summer I'm going to get my steps in. And I actually walked for over an hour and a bit, running my errands. And then it was so hot. I didn't realize it was so hot. I actually got a tan, guys. My face is tanned. Obviously, you lot won't tell from the screen, but I can tell. But yeah, that's what I've been up to. Today got a busy week. We've got Champions League tomorrow. Arsenal versus Real Madrid, PSG, I think are playing Aston Villa on Wednesday. Dortmund versus Barca, which is going to be a good game because players are dropping like flies everywhere. Like Bayern Munich have now lost Upamecano. They've now also lost Musiala for the rest of the season. Bayern Munich got Inter tomorrow, so that's going to be a good game. There's Bologna versus Napoli later tonight. If you lot want to watch that, I think Newcastle's playing in the Prem as well. And if you lot want to watch something a bit more chilled, you can watch Baller League. Baller League is also on later on this evening, and I went to that last week, guys, and I actually enjoyed it. I'm not gonna lie, I actually enjoyed the concept personally. I think Baller League would be more fun if there was less ex-pros or less ex-academy players and more just street ballers. I think that's how I think I would enjoy it more so than what it is right now. But I did enjoy Baller League. But guys, I don't know what it is, but I put out a tweet earlier today about Liam Delap, and I know Twitter, I can't be mad about people's comprehension and Twitter, because we know, people interpret your opinions how they want to interpret it. You can't control how people interpret what you say. But there is now reports suggesting that the main striker target going into the summer for Manchester United will be Liam Delap, the Ipswich, England striker. And I basically put out a tweet, and I think I've mentioned it before here on the channel, that I don't think Delap is the worst striker, but I think he's definitely better right now than what Hojlund was when we brought him. However, with saying that, you guys know who my number one priority striker should be if he's affordable, and obviously Manchester United can negotiate with him. So we're going to talk a bit about that. We're going to talk about Casemiro's redemption. If you lot want to call it a redemption, he's talking, I don't want to say he's talking smack, but he's suggesting that he might want to play out the next year of his contract at Manchester United, and he does not want to leave. I think that has been his stance quite a bit. So we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about Chelsea's decision that's imminent in May regarding Jadon Sancho. We're going to talk about that, and we're going to talk about Cunha as well. Someone in the chat just said, guys, Cunha news, if it's the same news that I saw about an hour ago, then I don't think it's any different to what we're going to talk about. But we are going to talk about the Matheus Cunha stuff as well. Thank you very much, Humphrey. I think you are referencing what I'm already about to talk about during the stream. We're going to talk about that. So don't you worry. You know what? We might be able to start with that. Actually, no, what we're going to start with is the Man City game. That's what I'm going to start with. Because I really want to know you lot's thoughts. By the way, hit the like button on your way in, guys. I really want to know what you lot think about yesterday's game, because I felt like Gary Neville talking about how Manchester United have fallen and how the mighty have fallen, and how it was such a bore fest or a snooze fest, or is a lack of quality on for Manchester United. Nobody is acknowledging the fact that Man City spent 150 something million in the January transfer window, and they still look mediocre. Nobody is addressing that point. I get Man United have been crap, and United have been crap for a minute. That is no secret. But equally with saying that, the spotlight was heavily on Manchester United yesterday after that game, in comparison to the team that have spent the most money in the I think all the other Premier League teams combined in January didn't spend what Man City spent. I might be making that up, but I'm pretty sure they were the only team that really brought anybody in on a permanent basis, let alone multiple players for substantial transfer fees. Now, with saying that, yesterday's game for me, I just think it just showcased again the lack of threat Manchester United have in the front line. Like, you cannot watch that game and think, you know what, Amorim is the problem in this. I don't think you can watch that game and think that Amorim is the problem completely in this. I watched yesterday's game, and the first kind of dying point for me was the lack of ball progression in the middle. Bruno Fernandes was playing a lot deeper, even with the fact that we had Ugarte and Casemiro in the middle in the first half. Bruno was we were practically playing with 3 in the middle, because Bruno was playing deep to dictate the game, because neither of them were able to do that. And Ugarte, rightfully so, taken off. I think rightfully so. But he was the further forward out of the 3 of them. I saw a graph on Sky Sports. I think it was like the 30th minute in the game, around 30th minute of the first half. And they showed the average positions of everyone. Our most advanced player was Garnacho. Garnacho, in terms of average position, Garnacho was the most advanced Manchester United player, and only Manchester United player, I think, that was in the opponent's half. Hojlund was as deep in the first 30 minutes as Casemiro was. Ugarte was the most advanced midfielder, taking into consideration Bruno, Casemiro, Ugarte. And I look at Ugarte sometimes, and I feel like games like yesterday. I like Ugarte, I'm not going to lie. I liked him at Sporting, but I don't think he is the sole answer for what Manchester United need. And that's not me saying that he's can't play for Manchester United. I'm just saying that we cannot rely on buying Ugarte in the summer transfer window like we did to be the answer to Man United's midfield problems. Because yesterday, for example, in the first half, Man United won, I think, 74% of their duels. That is the lowest number of duel percentage for Manchester City this season in the Premier League out of any team, by the way. They had one of the lowest, 26% of their duels they won, in comparison to 74% for Manchester United. I know this story of strikers, centre-backs. This is the fun stuff that people like to talk about, but we are not talking about, in my opinion, enough in terms of what Manchester United need in midfield. Now, someone mentioned Bruno here. Yeah, Bruno should play in the pivot till the end of the season for. I like Bruno in one of the pivot roles, but for me, it has to be with less defensive responsibility. It has to be with less defensive responsibility. Number one. Number two, Bruno can play in that deeper role. I like to call it quarterback settings, because that's what he's doing. He was doing it against City. He's playing essentially like a quarterback, where he's dictating the play from the middle, balls over the top, etc., etc. However, it makes no difference, can I say, Bruno making all the right decisions and all the right passes. Because even Maguire was playing those ping balls across the pitch to the wide channels. And you got Garnacho running into blind alleys. You got Patrick Dogu, who yesterday struggled, but I am so shocked at the criticisms on Patrick Dogu, who I think it was Leanne Sanderson. I think I saw Leanne Sanderson. Let me see. Yeah, shout out to Leanne Sanderson. I don't always agree with her on her opinions. But this is what she said yesterday after the game. Let me zoom in. This is what she said after the game yesterday. And I don't really agree with Leanne Sanderson's opinion sometimes, but everyone's always entitled to opinions. And I don't know why people get personal with her and insult her. That's not nice. Challenge her opinion, not the person. Don't get personal, guys. But I remember a while back, she said that Onana wasn't it, right? And she said that United should look at signing Ramsdale, the guy that just got relegated again, by the way, with Southampton. She said that United should sign Ramsdale. I saw this yesterday, and she said, I'm sorry, but Dogu is another really poor signing. Like, what do these people see? Our recruitment and scouting for the past 10 years has been woeful, and that's being polite. And I wonder where these harsh words fall from, because that is Patrick Dogu's second home game in the league. Like, this is a guy that spent 3 games out because of suspension. So he was getting into a run of games for United, joining Man United towards the end of the transfer window. We're only in April. Yeah, we've had an international break in between that. On top of that, he's missed 3 games to suspension. So you're telling me that the sample size of what you've seen from Patrick Dogu is already enough to write him off when we've given other players even more time, yeah, to impress than what we've given Patrick Dogu. I remember people were writing Lenny Yoro off after that game against Southampton, guys, when he was getting twisted up by that Ghanaian winger. And Man United went on to win it because of Ahmad's hat-trick, but Suleimana was cooking Yoro, and people were quick to write him off. And I'm just surprised that we want to see these players flourish. And I understand totally, guys, yeah, if it had been 1 year of Patrick Dogu and we're not seeing any kind of improvements. But it's literally like, I think it's about a handful of games. Bear in mind, like I said, he missed the international break. There was an international break, and he missed 3 games to suspension. So I was kind of shocked to see this. But what I will say is that what I agree with Lian on this point is that what has Manchester United's scouting and recruitment been doing for the last 10 or so years? We know what they've done. We know what they've been doing. They've been scouting too late, making panic purchases. However, with the way that Wilcox is approaching, it seems, the summer transfer window, I think Man United might be turning a corner when it comes to recruitment. They're going young, they're going for talent, they're going for potential, but also for me, I've said this time and time again, it has to be the right balance between players with high potential and players with high ceiling and ready-made players that are ready to rock and roll. Like, I don't want an entire starting. I saw Chelsea starting 11 the other day, and I looked at it and thought, how can you field a starting 11 like this after you spent 1 billion plus in the last number of years? How could you field a team like the team that they put out on Sunday? Let me actually bring it up, because I was just like, "Bro, this is a mediocre team." Like, honestly speaking, and I don't want Man United to go down that path. They had their starting team was this, bar Moises Caicedo. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. Except for Moises Caicedo, Reece James, I would say to an extent I rate him, but his injury problems are an issue. Outside of Moises Caicedo, I don't rate anybody else in this team. There's not one other person. I used to like Malo Gusto before he joined Chelsea. I don't really rate Enzo Fernandez that highly. I think he's an all right player. And Nkunku's drop-off at Chelsea has just been horrendous to see. Jadon Sancho, I think he's a shadow of himself over the last number of years. Dewsbury Hall, not my kind of player. Tosin Adarabioyo, I like the idea of him in the summer on a free agency, but now he's joining Chelsea and I've seen he's had quite a few howlers. Not my cup of tea. Chalobah and I mean Sanchez. You guys know about Sanchez. So I don't want United, when it comes to the recruitment side of stuff, to go down that path. That team is 4th in the league, by the way. The league is moving mad. You know what's funny, yeah? You're talking about the league and just about, I feel like it's a direct result of yesterday's derby, because let's be honest, guys, leading up to the derby, I did a stream, when was it, Friday? And I said to you guys, I can't believe it's a derby on Sunday, because there was no build-up, no hype around it. Bro, channels, content creators haven't even bothered doing what's it called when they do the starting 11, the combined 11s and match previews and all of that. People haven't even bothered doing that because it's just dead, right? But can I just say to you guys, yeah, and if you lot follow me on Twitter, you will know that I watch a lot of football outside of the Prem. Please, there's football outside of Premier League. I encourage you, and I actually challenge you, if you have just watched the Premier League this season, I encourage you and I challenge you to go and watch other European leagues. I don't watch the MLS, so I can't tell you about the MLS. I only watch football in the MENA region, in the Middle Eastern and North African regions during international break. I watch countries, but I watch the Saudi league sometimes, and I watch pretty much the top 5 leagues. Predominantly, I think I watch La Liga and probably Serie A more so, and Bundesliga more so than I probably watch the French league. I don't really watch it too tough, I'm not going to lie. But there is football outside of the Premier League. So if you feel like, and by the way, before anybody says that I'm capping, I can bring up tweets from 2022 of me watching Sporting versus Rio Ave, and Mateus Nunes was playing for Sporting that time. And I was talking about Mateus Nunes. there is life outside of this Premier League, right? There is life outside of this Premier League. So if you feel like Premier League is, and you know what, I'm not even gonna lie, I actually feel like the Premier League games that I watched this season, some of the best ones I watched, had nothing to do with title contenders. They weren't really Liverpool. Like, I remember watching Bournemouth hammer. They literally annihilated Nottingham Forest this season. And then a couple of weeks later, I watched Nottingham Forest absolutely destroy Brighton. I watched Nottingham Forest get destroyed by Newcastle, but then managed to bring, like, there's so in the Premier League, I genuinely feel like at this point of the season, maybe people feel like the league is in a slump because there's not a lot to play for a lot of teams. The top four races looking a bit dusted. Relegation is guaranteed for everybody in the bottom three right now. So I do understand that. But if you want a proper title race, Serie A, guys, yeah, if I show you lot, La Liga, you lot, I'm sure you lot know about La Liga already and the title race over there. I'm pretty sure you guys know about that. But Serie A in Italy right now, you've pretty much got Inter starting to creep away with it, but Napoli are breathing down their necks. And that's why I say Napoli versus Bologna tonight is going to be a big game for them. So on that note, let me go through some of the comments. Pep has Matheus Nunes and Grealish and turned them into waste man. Honestly, I saw Pep Guardiola's comments after the game, right? Saying that Nunes ain't good enough, basically, to play in midfield. And I'm like, bro, this guy, wallahi, I was watching him at Sporting, yeah, please. Let me see if I can find the tweet even. Whoa, I just zoomed in so much on my Twitter that literally it's hurt my eyes. Let me see if I can find any tweets of me talking about Matheus Nunes, because I remember watching him thinking, please, Man United, go and sign him. Here you go, look. This is when Richard Arnold was Sporting director. And I said, Arnold needs to call up Sporting and pay what they are asking for Matheus Nunes, 50 million. I think that was his release clause at the time. 50 million euros, go and get him now. Missed out on so many this window and we can't let him go to another Premier League team. This was August 13th, 2022. I just, by the way, just typed in Nunes. I honestly don't see Nunes staying at Sporting long. It's only a matter of time before a PL team come knocking for him. This is, by the way, when we were busy chasing Frankie de Jong, who wanted nothing to do with us. Frankie de Jong wanted nothing to do with us. And what's his... This was the midfield, by the way. This was the midfield options in the summer. 38 million for Matheus Nunes, sorry. Cunha is on my mind. That's why I just said Cunha's. 32 million release clause for Sangare. It's crazy because he's at Nottingham Forest now doing nothing. 20 million for Paulinho before he went to before he went to Fulham. 42 for Benacer. 33 million for Onana. 0 for Kamara. Man United won an easy option for 20 million for Rabiot. So Matheus Nunes has been ruined by Pep, but that is why I saw this discourse in the last day talking about has Pep ruined football. I've been saying not Pep necessarily has ruined football, but the idea of systems and less so players has ruined football. I don't know if you lot feel the same, and I feel like I'm just about to go on a rant, guys. So get involved in the chat and let me know your thoughts, because I feel like I grew up as a teenager in the when United were winning the double and winning it 3 in a row, etc. And I do not enjoy watching football unless I'm watching, at the moment, Barcelona is probably the most exciting team to watch. Premier League, top games in the top 4, the top 6, or the traditional top 4. Those games ain't exciting anymore. There is no entertainment in football, and I feel like as it goes on, it's football might become a chore to watch. When it becomes a job because you work in football. That's why I feel like football will become. There's no enjoyment at the moment. And maybe I'm speaking from, a depleted place where, I'm a Man United fan and I hate watching. And Man United is just not an easy team to watch. But right now, let's be honest. And I also think because of there's so much football. There's so much football to watch. I remember back in the day, yeah, I'd have to wait. You'd wait once a week, essentially, to watch your team. Now I'm lucky. I get to watch my team 3 times a week. Football has been killed. Coaches don't take risks. When was the last 40-yard screamer? Exactly. Do you know what it kind of reminds me of? it's not necessarily the same, but there's always conversations about this in basketball, about how the three-pointer has ruined basketball, where you'll be on a team will be on a fast break in basketball, and instead of like just driving to the basket and going for like a windmill dunk or you know, hitting an alley-oop off the backboard or something like that, they're going to stop at the three-point line and take a three-pointer. I feel like that's like it's the basketballification of football. The enjoyment, the flair, the excitement. That's why I like watching players like Yamal. That's why I like watching skillful, tricky players. I like watching players that just run at their fullbacks. And again, maybe I'm speaking from a place where me as a Man United fan, I'm watching my players running at fullbacks and can't get anywhere. And that's stressing me out. But generally speaking, when I feel like when you've got these young, exciting players, when you take the fear out of them, the fearless factor out of them, and you turn them into just another number in the team, or they just play another role in the team, football becomes boring at that point. I'm nearly 40 very soon. Happy early 40th in advance. They call my opinion old, etc. What happened to playing your Maverick 4-4-2 or 4-3-3? Pep came from tiki-taka ball. Don't mean everyone has to copy and paste. That's the thing. I feel like with managers as well. I feel like with Pep Guardiola and the tiki-taka at Barca, and then he went on, you know, to Bayern and then to City. Those are, I think, special cases. I genuinely feel like those are special cases in terms of you can't replicate that at every single team. Like, you can't do that. At Barca, he had the best midfield trio of, you know, Busquets, Iniesta, Xavi. You got one of the greatest, if not the greatest players of ever in football, in Messi. Like, it can't be replicated. I think you have to find your bread and butter for your team and make it work. I miss, you know, I was watching the other day. This is how sad I was, guys. Friday night, I was just chilling. I decided to go on YouTube because you can find so much stuff on YouTube. And I was watching Manchester United's 2009. I watched about most of the games and then some extended highlights of some games of the 2009 Champions League run that Manchester United had when we lost in the final. And I was watching it and I was thinking, firstly, why did I not remember Ronaldo used to shoot from everywhere? Like, bloody hell. I get when I watch Garnacho, if I say he reminds me of Ronaldo, it means he's shooting from everywhere. Whereas Ronaldo was always hitting the target more times than not. But anyways, I watched the 2009 and I was thinking, look at this. Now I'm watching it thinking, this looks chaotic, but this is what football is. Less of the data and the metrics and all of that, and just free-flowing football. Let the players play off of each other. Let them do what they need to do, because at the end of the day, they can figure it out on the pitch. I feel like the PL doesn't have that many exciting players. They don't have that many Yamal, Shirkis, Desire, and them, man. We lack ballers. We have system players, just bare system players. I mean, we had Elise, yeah? We had Elise in the league. And I remember United fans saying, oh, he plays for Crystal Palace. We shouldn't go for him. We need to shop in the big markets. Now he's about to win a league title with Bayern in the quarters of the champs with them, and having a great season, double digits in goals and assists. People were turning their noses up at Elise. If you lot remember, people were turning up their noses at the idea of Elise. Loki Saudi took some ballers from the PL. Who did Saudi take? The only one that I can really think of is Moussa Diaby in terms of ballers, and Duran. I can't really, like, Kante, Koulibaly, all of those guys was approaching towards the end of their time in the Premier League. But anyway, guys, literally we're nearly halfway through the stream, man. Let's talk transfers. Let's talk transfers. Manchester United are reportedly interested in signing Matheus Cunha this summer. He has a release clause of £62.5 million, which kicks in the summer. Cunha's agent will fly to England soon for face-to-face talks with potential suitors and has already made some initial contact with Manchester United. However, let's take into consideration that Manchester United are not the only team interested in him. And Manchester United, however, according to Ben Jacobs, again, take a look, pinch yourself. According to Ben Jacobs, Manchester United is of an appeal to Cunha. Now, Nottingham Forest also reportedly have a firm interest in him, But it's understood from those close to the player that he prefers to join a Big Six team, even if Forest qualify for Champions League, which is looking likely. It's looking likely. His preference is a Big Six team. Now, if you look at the Big Six teams in terms of who would need a player like Cunha, I don't think outside of United, maybe I don't think Arsenal is for him. I think Arsenal need a more a traditional left winger who's an upgrade on Martinelli. So I'm thinking Liverpool. I don't think Liverpool need him. If Salah leaves, I think Liverpool should go for Mbeumo. I don't think Chelsea might just buy him for the sake of it, because they just like to buy people just for the sake of it. Spurs, I mean, come on. No disrespect to Spurs, but I don't think he would go to Spurs. However, with saying that, I don't think 62 million is a bad fee, given the fact that Wolves will not be getting relegated. Like, I think that's a guarantee. Wolves won't be getting relegated. However, with saying that, I think of the likelihood of United, if they sign Cunha, that means, and this leads to our conversation after this, if United were to go for Cunha, that means they are only signing one striker this summer. They ain't going to sign two. Now, my wish would have been that United signed 2 strikers this summer plus another 10 in terms of Cunha or Mbeumo or whatever. However, I do think if 60 million for Cunha and 40 million for Delap, I want to know what you guys think of that. Ain't his agent Mendes? I don't know, This is life as a football fan nowadays, guys. We're searching up people's agents. No, his agent is someone called... Is that a person or is that an agency? Let me see, because I don't think... It doesn't look like Mendes is his agent, because it definitely would have been mentioned. So it's been confirmed. It's being reported by quite a few different publications, by the way. Is that, and this is one publication relating to Wolves, is that his agent is set to have talks with a Premier League club. There's no name of the Premier League club, but it is suggested that there is a Premier League club, top Premier League club, that's interested in him. Mina, Cunha is so dynamic and a team player. I think even Hojlund would benefit. Would you not like a top goal scorer instead? This is the thing, guys, right? I've been having this conversation with people on Twitter all day in terms of what it is that Manchester United need. And like I said, this is a perfect segue to what we could talk about. Because the biggest conversation today on Twitter is about this kid right here, Liam Delap. It's been reported by multiple different reporters, including very reliable ones, by the way, that Manchester United have made Liam Delap their top striker target this summer. Liam Delap is on Man United's radar, and it's been reported, by the way, that Liam Delap was also targeted by Ruben Amorim last summer for Sporting. Now, someone pointed out to me on Twitter today, very interestingly, is you look at how Amorim was able to support and kind of shape Gyökeres, buying him from Coventry, taking him to Sporting. But with saying that, of course, is quite different because he spent a lot more time in Championship in comparison to Liam Delap. Now, it's also been reported that Chelsea will rival Manchester United in the race to sign Liam Delap this summer, as Manchester United have identified him ahead of Victor Gyökeres, Benjamin Sesko, and Victor Osimhen as a solution to their goal-scoring problems. Now, this is what I want to hear from you guys, because, like I said, I've been going back and forth all day with people on Twitter about what it is Manchester United need. And I said the summer that we signed Osimhen, I wanted Osimhen then. The summer that we signed Hojlund, I wanted Osimhen then. But it wasn't realistically going to happen. I think that's the summer that the season that they actually won the title. It seems like there's some people not interested in the idea of Liam Delap because they think about... Sorry, Joe, I'm sure you are a mod here, but it's because you're probably not around often in the chat, and normally the mods of people are around often. There you go. But I want to hear what you lot think. Main striker target, 40 million if Man United was to only sign Liam Delap in terms of strikers and brought in someone else like Cunha or something, would you be happy with that? Or are you against the idea of another young product and you want a fully fledged, made 20 minimum goals per season in the league kind of striker? Because my personal preference has always been Victor Osimhen. Right? Even before he went to Galatasaray, 2 summers ago, I wanted Victor Osimhen. But I don't know how people also think that Delap is a repeat of Hojlund, because I've said this quite a few times. I think, in my opinion, I do think that Liam Delap at this stage in his career and what he is now, what he's done with Ipswich, I mean, double-digit goals in the Premier League, that is a big deal, regardless, yeah? Especially because he's in a relegation team and because of the way that Ipswich play. But even if you see him off the ball and just his all-rounded centre-forward play, it's better than what Hojlund was when we signed him. It's better than what Hojlund is right now. However, with saying that, Hojlund is not the benchmark for what Man United should be looking for in terms of we should look for better than Hojlund, because like, come on, guys, we're setting ourselves up to fail if he's going to be what we're going. Like, Hojlund has not been great for Manchester United, but let's not turn our noses up at Liam Delap with this idea that, oh, he's in a relegated team or a team that's getting relegated. He's a young player. It's England hype or England tax or whatever it is. I think Liam Delap will be the replacement in the national team for Harry Kane, and I think he's got a high ceiling. If you watch him for Ipswich, or even if you watch under 21, if you watch under 21 England, and you see how he plays, you will see that this guy has high potential, but it's all about environment, right? It's all about environment. But with saying that, 40 million is a very good price. That's nearly half of what we spent on Hojlund. It's nearly half on maybe what we would spend on maybe another striker. The possibility of United going for Delap and Osimhen or Delap and Gyökeres is not likely. But yeah, make sure you guys hit the like buttons, because the likes and the views are not adding up right now. If you want to join the membership club, guys, you can. It's the pinned comment in the chat. You get your badges, you get your emojis, you get your custom member content, and of course, you get to support the growth of the channel, the ever-growing channel. If you want to support the channel in alternative ways, you can by sending in super chats with your comments, with your questions, with your thoughts, or just to show some love. And you can help me reach the goal for the stream today. Mondays are always a busy day, like I said, because I'm live from 4:30, then it's Straight Jacket podcast at 5:30, and then it's the red carpet at 7 p.m. So I'm streaming, I'm sitting in this chair for like 3.5 hours. So if you guys are not hitting the like button for the content and the work rate, then I'll be very sad, guys. I'll be very sad. Yusuf Arts is a very valid question, saying, why are we not going for a senior striker? Let me ask you an honest question, yeah? Just drop it in the chat. These 3 names here. Who is your number? Who is it that you want? Because I want Victor Osimhen. However, I have a strong feeling. Sorry, I don't know because nobody knows but God. But I have a strong feeling that Ineos are not going to sign a player like Victor Osimhen, despite the fact of what stats and metric and his consistent goal scoring tally does, and the fact that he would automatically improve Man United's front line, right? Man United are not going to spend under Ineos on a player like Victor Osimhen, even though he's not that old, because it looks like to me their recruitment strategy is going for 19, 20, 21-year-olds, etc. Like, that's the age bracket that they're going for. And we're going to talk about this, about another centre-back that Manchester United are reportedly scouting, because that's another 20-year-old centre-back. Excuse me. But even if you think back to the centre-backs that we were linked to in the summer, young centre-backs, Branthwaite, etc., Lenny Yoro, it's young players. But I don't want to be the team that are signing endless potential. Potential only gets you so far. Guys, have you ever heard this saying in life where hard work beats it doesn't really relate to what I was going to say, but having potential, for example, myself, I think I'm good at what I do. I think I'm a very confident broadcaster, content creator, host, whatever you want to call it. But having the potential and not being able to fulfill it, there's a gap between that. And I don't want Manchester United to sign players that have high ceilings and have high potentials, without a guarantee that they're going to hit that potential. And I made a video about this. I think I made a TikTok video about this like at the beginning of the season. Strikers at Manchester United do not have the luxury of patience. Today, we can sign a Lenny Yoro. We can sign a Patrick Dogu. We can sign a young player in the back line or the midfield. And we can talk about patience. Hell, we're talking about patience with Garnacho, and he's in his third senior season at Manchester United. But strikers don't get the luxury of patience at Manchester United, because I think of the high caliber of strikers that have come through Manchester United and have banged in goals consistently and have been a menace to society. You look at all the strikers that United have had in the last 10 years, and really, how many of them were game-changing strikers? I think the only young striker that United have had, and even he got a lot of slack at the time, was Anthony Martial. When Man United brought Anthony Martial, we were talking about potentials and high ceiling and all of that. He got a lot of criticism, even though I would die to have Anthony Martial at that young age in United's number 9 right now than I would the number 9 options that we have, because he was genuinely a good player. But just of the fact that United had been starved of a striker for so long, and that drop off from having RVP to basically having potential in the front line, it's difficult to come in and replicate that. And really, the last time Manchester United brought a striker in between the ages of 24-ish to like 27-ish was when we brought Lukaku. Everyone else before that was old. Cavani coming in after that, old. Not old, but you get like he's above a certain age. Cristiano Ronaldo, old. United have changed their approach to signing strikers. However, with saying that, there is no guarantee. This is the unfortunate thing. There's no guarantees. If we sign Delap, he's going to be great. We sign Osimhen, he's going to be great. There's no guarantee. However, it's all a risk. It's all of it is a risk worth taking. Even Gyökeres, I think is a good striker as well. But I have a strong feeling he ends up at Arsenal. Ekitike might be more expensive than Osimhen. How mental is that? You know what's even more mental? Someone said on Twitter the other day that Ekitike spelled backwards is Ekitike. His name backwards is the same going forward. That's jokes. No way, Minna, your PL ad just hit my timeline. Nearly brought a tear to my eye. Big up every time. Thank you so much, Ed. I appreciate it, man. That means a lot. If you lot don't know, I did a No Room for Racism campaign with the Premier League with my friend Ikra. So you can check it out. It's on their Instagram. It's on all their social platforms. It's on mine as well. So you can go check it out. Let me see what you lot are saying. We went from Rooney, RVP, Rude, and then man to Hojlund. You know what I feel like? Yeah, Hojlund gets a lot of slack. Hojlund gets a lot of slack. But also, you have to blame Manchester United. Like, you have... Who thought it was good? If you lot go back to David Ornstein's tweets at the time, when United were deliberating about signing Hojlund, other clubs were interested in him, but they didn't see... I think it was PSG wanted him, because that summer they were going for Gonzalo Ramos. They didn't want to pay more than 40 million euros for him, because they didn't think he was worth more than that. Man United went to Atalanta and got fleeced. So if you want to blame anyone for the Hojlund situation, please, let's not put all of it on Hojlund. I can only criticize Hojlund personally for what I watch on the pitch. Like, for example, yesterday, Hojlund was pants. I can criticize him for that. I can criticize, what he was doing or what he wasn't doing. But the fact that he came to Manchester United, I'm not going to blame him. And I say this all the time. I think Rasmus Hojlund skipped a stage in his development. He went from, if you look at Rasmus Hojlund's career steps, yeah, he skipped a step before coming to Manchester United. He skipped a step, and that's not his fault. He went from Copenhagen, 2 seasons at Copenhagen, yeah? 1 season at Sturm Graz, which is an Austrian football club. 1 season at Atalanta, and you're telling me he finds himself at Manchester United. That is a career of dreams. I wish I had that career, guys. It's like the equivalent of, me going from being a freelancer to, being on TalkSport. And then before I go to Sky, I'm like a crowd announcer for UEFA or something. Like, is making a big step before you should. Like, he ran before he was walking, bro. He was crawling to the finish line, and United dragged him to the finish line and said, "You know what? You're ready. Let's go. Come on." Like, so yeah, criticism on Hojlund for what he does on the pitch, but Man United, I don't think, get enough criticism for what they did with Rasmus Hojlund, and that is bringing him to Manchester United off the back of one season at Atalanta. 32 appearances. 32 appearances, guys. And 9 goals in all comps. Hojlund and Choupo-Moting ages are elite. Choupo-Moting, man, that guy has won so much. It's ridiculous. He's living the dream. Choupo-Moting, dead ass, is living the dream. Reports about Alejandro Garnacho coming from Mail Sport suggest internally Manchester United are having a feeling that they're that moving on from Alejandro Garnacho could come back to bite them, given his obvious potential. It's not me saying that, guys. It's the ITK, if you want to call it that. His obvious potential. Now, this guy, the Garnacho thing for me, bro, that it kills me. Not literally, but figuratively. And the reason why I say that is because why I need to know why people love him so much. Like, genuinely, I really need to know why people love like Garnacho. That guy, he's got a love that I think I have not seen for a player in a long time. Given the fact that we brought him from, I think it was from Atletico, if I'm not wrong. We brought him from Atletico. He's got a love in the fan base at a level that I have not seen for a long time. Damn, people are so torn about the whole Delap thing on Twitter. It's crazy. Amram is playing Garnacho in the wrong position. What do you think is the right position for him? I think if Garnacho is going to play or he's going to come on, he's going to be impact sub or whatever, I think he should be on the right side of the 210s. And the reason why I think he should be on that side is because I think when he's on the left 10, he drifts wide a lot. But because he's naturally a winger, he's always going to drift wide, whether he's on the right or the left, right? But because Patrick Dogu's entire kind of mechanisms of playing as a wing back is to hold the width as a wing back, it's like we have two players in the same position, which is wasteful, because suddenly the half spaces or the spaces that the 10 should be in terms of the left 10, there's no one there. And so you've got one other person in the 10 that's trying to maneuver in and around those spaces. When he plays on the right, and I don't know if you guys noticed this, when Garnacho plays on the right-hand side, he naturally, again, holds the width because he's naturally, a wide player. But because Dalot is not naturally a wing-back, Dalot is comfortable coming into the inside spaces. He's comfortable coming into those inside spaces that Garnacho is vacating. I'm not necessarily saying that both of them are quality on the right-hand side when doing so, but also it doesn't leave you one less man down in terms of in attacking phase, and especially in the final third. So if Garnacho is going to play and he's going to start, put him on the right. And also, can I just say another thing? And maybe this is me being harsh and maybe I'm being like selfish as a fan, but when he plays on the right-hand side, he cuts in onto his left to shoot a lot less because he can't. Whereas when he's on the left, the guy's always cutting in naturally onto his right-hand side to shoot. And when he hits the byline to put a ball across with his left foot, it's powerless. It doesn't have much behind it because it's not his, in my opinion, his stronger foot. So you can bypass all of that by putting him on the right. He's going to put balls in with his right foot more often. That again, that's the whole idea of service to your striker. Done. He's got Dalot on the inside space that can provide, again, coverage for him. And he was more likely, in my opinion, to pass inside to whoever's, doing the underlap than he is to utilize the overlap. Because when he's playing on the left 10 and he's got the overlap to him, the overlap is confusing the defender by, oh, should I follow the overlap or should I stay on Garnacho? And he sees a little opening to cut into his right foot and shoot. And I swear to you guys, I'm not joking. I feel like I've watched You know, they say insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. Sometimes I think I'm going insane when I'm watching Garnacho, because it's like I know what he's going to do. Every time he gets the ball in the wide channel on the left-hand side, I can envision what's going to happen. I envision how it's going to play out, and it happens like that, exactly like that. So many times throughout a game, like multiple times in a game, multiple games in a row. So if you want to have this idea of Garnacho playing, and really, Man United don't have a lot of attacking options. Yes, Mount has come back. Joshua Zirkzee can play in the 10. Bruno Fernandes is playing in that deeper role to kind of accommodate for the lack of ball carrying and ball progression that we have in the middle of the pitch. If Garnacho is going to play, and I'm happy if he does so, put him on the right. Put him on the right-hand side. Because this I don't want to say experiment of him on the left-hand side, but it is an experiment. It needs to end. The manager's not playing him incorrectly, but rather accommodating this kid's strengths to pull defenders wide so that Manu can run into spaces, which is why he was a few times into the box 3 times. Why are we using Manuel Ugarte like we did Scott McTominay in terms of having him running into the box as I don't want to say a decoy, but as an alternative option to your striker that you got in the box already? If it was up to me, guys, yeah, Manuel Ugarte would be in front of whoever's playing central centre back. They would look up and they would see Manuel Ugarte right in front of them, and I would tell him, "You ain't going anywhere near the attack." And that's just my opinion. I saw a tweet. Big up Uthman, by the way. I saw a tweet suggesting Ineos don't want to sell because of his potential. It's a smokescreen for Ineos to keep him for jersey sales and buy-in from the fan base. I stopped, guys, buying. Like, you don't know my situation in it with buying players' names on my shirt. But are you telling me that, genuinely speaking, that Garnacho is like a high shirt seller? Highest United shirt sellers this season? Because are you telling me there's people walking around with 17 on the back? Okay, I can only see from last year. Oh, they'll only show it at the end of the season. So last season, Marcus Rashford was number 1. Damn, Alejandro Garnacho was number 2. Wow, Bruno 3, Casemiro 4, Licha 5, Kobbie Mainoo 6. This is last season, guys. Man United don't really have shirt sellers like that anyways. But I can't talk about who should be playing and whose shirts you should be buying and who's not. Because I brought Sancho shirts. I got Sancho shirts. I got Ronaldo shirts. I brought a Di Maria shirt. Normally I just get plain shirts, or sometimes I get my name on the back. But when I do choose, I got bare Pogba shirts. I think I got like 12 Pogba shirts, guys. So don't listen to me when it comes to buying shirts. Minna, can you join the Pro Clubs Discord? Bro, I'm not gonna lie, I'd never use Discord. I have it, but I barely use it. But guys, KG called me this morning at 8 in the morning. Can you guys tell KG not to call people at 8 in the morning? I'm sorry, but I don't like talking on the phone. Don't call me before 11 a.m. at the least. Yeah? At the least. Don't call me before 11 a.m. But to call 8:40 a.m. in the morning, I haven't even taken my meds and drank my cup of tea, and you're calling me. You want to have a conversation with me. 8 a.m. 8:40, guys. It wasn't even 9 o'clock. I swear, I bet you. And this guy obviously probably done the school run, and he thought, yeah, let me. And then I called him back like later in the afternoon. I think it was like 1 or 2 p.m. I called him back. The guy sent me straight to voicemail. I think he was probably like recording or something. But it's not even. Oh yeah, I'm talking about school run. He's not even. It's half term. Nah. Yeah, there you go. Imran is saying, what if it was something serious? Text me, and I'll call you when I get the chance. The only person that can call me at 8 in the morning, the only people, guys, that can call me in the morning is my family. Like my mom, my siblings. Yeah? That's it. Even my cousins, my friends. I'm defrosting. Don't call me. I can't talk. I'm a very miserable person, guys, when I wake up, guys. But now that it's summer, I got a bit of a hop in my step. But I was so shocked. I was 8:40 I saw. I was like, oh my God, this guy's unserious. So if he was calling me at 8:40 to talk about pro clubs, well, I would have cussed him. Because he called me. I missed his call last week, but you don't know I was practically dead in bed with a flu. So I think he messaged me to say, come pro clubs. But I'll be there this week if it's on Wednesday. If it's on Tuesday, I can't. But if it's on Wednesday, I should be able to be there after champs. But anyways, back to Garnacho. You lot are all saying I've never seen anyone wearing a Garnacho shirt to this day. I have. I definitely have seen Garnacho, people wearing Garnacho shirts at Old Trafford. I've even seen people wearing Anthony shirts. I even seen people wearing Anthony shirts. But reports suggest Real Betis' sporting director has said it's still early, but we'll try in different ways to do everything possible to continue enjoying Anthony. I think he means like having him at the team, because that sounds like a brazy statement to make. However, with saying that, I hope you want Anthony, just pay. Just pay. Wait a minute, you're not answering the phone. Gen Z don't pick up phone calls. You know what? It's the fact that you said I'm Gen Z. That is what I'm so flattered. Like, that has made my day. Thank you so much. I've been dying to be a Gen Z, and people keep saying I'm not. But that has made my day. That is actually the best comment that I've had all day, guys. Probably all week, all month, maybe. Is someone saying that I'm Gen Z. Thank you. Thank you so much. Minutes 45 talk about Gen Z. Come on, don't do that. My worst fear, yeah, is people saying like I'm 40. I'm not. I look young for my age, guys. If you see my siblings, they look young for their age. If you see my parents, now my parents look their age. But thank you. But yeah, I'm again back to this thing. I'm not picking up the phone before at least 10 o'clock. At least 10 o'clock is reasonable because it's double digits. The time is double digits. But if the time is still one number, come on, man. What do you have to talk about at 8 or 9 o'clock in the morning? I used to think like back in the day, I remember when I used to, be on the train at like 8 in the morning and I'm seeing people talking on the phone. And I'm like, how are you talking on the phone at 8 in the morning? Like, my voice box don't work until 10. I'm not even being funny. My voice box does not work until 10 o'clock. Oh. Mina's babyface got you confused. So Paul Parker. Betis don't have 40 million. Anthony will go to another Spanish team, maybe. Let's see Real Betis's transfer records in terms of signings. Real Betis. Let's see their record transfer signings ever. This is crazy. Damn. I just see 1998, 99 as their record fee. Some of you lot in the chat weren't born then. Some of you lot in the chat were not born when Denilson was signed for 30 million. Look at that, guys. That's crazy. This is crazy. Yeah. And we think we're going to get 40 million from them. Real Betis are not paying 40 million, guys. Bad boy player. Yeah, Denilson was a bad boy player. Even like Nabil Fekir was good. Lo Celso, he was all right. If they can pay my man's salary, then they can get him for 40 million. So you want them to pay the salary, and on top of that, you want them to pay the 40 million. You know what I don't like about Anthony's loan spell? I'm so happy that he's doing well, but I feel like everything is on a bigger magnitude than if it was someone else who's on loan doing it. For example, Marcus Rashford, United fans are not talking about Marcus Rashford's loan spell, even if you think it's average, right? They're not talking about it. I think he's having by the way, I think Marcus Rashford is having an okay loan spell. He's finding himself, which is good. He's back into the England team, which is good. But I don't think people are talking about that to the same level that you would think that Anthony is carrying Real Betis to a league title. I'm just going to say one thing and one thing only. Any player goes out on loan, I want them to do well. Whether I like them as a player or not is a different. Whether I want them to stay at United or not, that's a different conversation. But if you are out on loan for Manchester United, I want you to do well, because it just makes it easier for United to get rid of you. It just as simple as that. Simple as that. But I feel like Fabrizio Romano, he tweets everything. Anthony can like dribble past the player, and I feel like Fabrizio is going to tweet about it. it's quite absurd. And I do think all the players that are on loan, or most of the players maybe that are on loan at Manchester United, from Manchester United, sorry, I have a feeling they will all be sold in the summer. Jadon Sancho, and let's actually bring him up here because he's another player who's on loan that I saw a stat today that said he's had like 2 shots on target in the last 15 games. I was like, huh? 2 shots on target in the last 15 games. What have you been doing for the last season? But again, this was another player who I wanted him to do well at Chelsea. Not necessarily, I didn't want him to go to Chelsea. And you lot know the records are there of me saying it on KG's channel. But I wanted him to do well because it just makes it easier. The fact that Chelsea are yet to decide. Chelsea, who go around signing players for fun because they've got nothing like... They've got their owners have so much money to waste because they've just sold their women's team for 200 million that they can afford to go and pay and buy random kids from Brazil and random other places. They still haven't decided whether they want to keep Jadon Sancho or not. That is, I think, embarrassing for Jadon Sancho. I think that's embarrassing. This was the moment to redeem yourself. And then the whole freedom thing didn't help. I remember Man United, I don't know if you guys saw, Man United wished Jadon Sancho happy birthday on his birthday. I think it was last week. Bro, I went to the comments and I could not stop laughing. I saw someone call him Jaden Mandela. I was like, damn. Everyone talking about the whole freedom stuff. Obviously. Someone said Rosa Parks. I'm like, come on, don't do this, guys. Stop it. But that doesn't help you. You know what it's like? It's like talking smack, yeah, before. It's like for example, if you've got siblings, you know when you run your mouth to your sibling and you say, I'm gonna knock, like I'm gonna punch you up, and then your sibling just one punch. Yeah, it's like that. Like, don't talk nonsense, or don't talk bad if you're not gonna back it up. And I think that thing, especially with the way that everything on social media is, like, people are reporting it like it's news of what he said on Instagram, etc. And generally speaking, I thought it was photoshopped because, people Photoshop stuff a lot of like what players do on Instagram and that. Mina definitely used to bully her siblings. Nah, other way around. As a Chelsea fan, take Sancho back. He's not made for the Premier League. Chelsea fans don't even want him, which is so funny because in the summer after deadline day, Chelsea fans were rejoicing. I remember Chelsea fans talking about United fans. Yeah, thank you guys for Jadon Sancho. Now they're saying take him back. It must be mad being a pro athlete. Thousands of people you never met frying you in the comments. Yeah, being famous is long. It's long. Don't panic, Mina. Chelsea will send him back and we'll use him in a swap deal for Mecha. Stay calm. Now, the thing is, I think Man United are going to have to take a hit with Jadon Sancho. They are going to have to take a hit. Like, I think 25 million might be hard for them to get. And by the way, when the reports came out, and this is what I'm saying, it's all about how United package it, because it was packaged to us that it was an obligation to buy, and now they can pay 5 million to not buy him. I mean, they're saving 20 million. But with saying that, at the time, I thought 25 million was too cheap. Now I think Man United will be lucky to get 25 million for him. Genuinely speaking, and I don't mean that in a way that I want to demoralize him or I want to I'm insulting Jadon Sancho or anything. It's the fact that the past 36 months, the past 3.5 years, since basically Eric Ten Hag was at Man United, has been abysmal. Jadon Sancho for the last 5 years, I couldn't tell you 10 standout games. I genuinely could not tell you. And that's across 3 different clubs. Let's be honest. What's happening now with Anthony at Betis in terms of the glorification of his loan spell is what was happening with Sancho at Dortmund. Because I remember watching him in the Champions League final at the stadium and thinking, is this what he's been doing all season? Because how have people been hyping him up? Now, you're telling me you've played for 3 clubs in the last 5 years and I can't name 10 standout games. Then there's an issue there. There's a big problem there. And maybe Man United is the graveyard for high potentials and players that are high prospects. But equally with saying that, it's not just about your environment. If Man United had to create an environment individually for each player, what are we? What are we at that point? You create a winning environment, I think, across the kind of campus, if you want to say, entirely for the squad. And you individually tweak it for the players necessary. For example, the players that, one player might need a translator on site because he can't speak English. I know the women's team do that. But this idea of Jadon Sancho needs the right environment and the right this and X, Y, Z. We have to accept that what Jadon Sancho was when United brought him, and let's be honest, he was the most sought after young English player in Europe at the time, right? But Man United effed up when they chased him for 12 months. Do you guys remember? Man United signed him a summer after they initially wanted him. So you wasted 12 months chasing him, get rid of the manager that brought him in, brought in Ronaldo that same summer. So at that point, your entire attacking structure has changed. And, well, the rest, you know what happened. Erik ten Hag comes in. He's struggling off the pitch, which is like, it's fine to struggle outside of work because you're a human. Man United put the right things in place to help him succeed. He came back again, wasn't the best comeback. Went out on loan to Dortmund, did all right. Came back to Man United, trained in the preseason. Didn't really have any standout moments in preseason, let's be honest. But preseason for me it's about fitness, it's about game time, and it's about young players getting opportunities. Go out on Chelsea on loan, and the rest is history. The rest is history. Mino wanted Sancho at the club than any other Red Devil. I remember. I wasn't even doing content then. How do you remember? I didn't want Sancho to. If you lot watched my daily dose of Mina every day in the summer, and you still think, or you can come out of that, of my daily streams, and say Mina wanted Sancho to stay, I know you are a liar and you do not watch my content. Because I sat here time and time again saying he should go to Juve, he should go to PSG, he should go anywhere away from Manchester United and away from the Premier League. But of course, agendas have to run. He's another guy, if he went to Spain, he would look solid, unless he tries a Crystal Palace or Forest run. Come on, Forest, what's Forest going to do with him? They got a road runner in the middle in Gibbs White, who's strong, powerful, good on the ball, can run through everyone. You got Alanga and Callum Hudson-Odoi on the far channels, pacey, just run at guys, run in behind. What's Sancho going to do? Be honest, he's not. There's a lot of teams that I think maybe a Fulham could do. And this is crazy because we're talking about Jadon Sancho, who, like I said, at one point had a high prospect. He was a high prospect. I think he was I think there was like a report back in 2017. I think there was an article about the best wonder kids, and he was up there in the top 10. Which La Liga team would he get into? I can't even say like Rayo Vallecano or something like that. I can't even say that. But I feel sorry for Sancho. Like I know you lot are gonna say why he earns 300k. I still feel sorry for him because I had. Let's be honest, guys. Were you lot gassed when United signed Jadon Sancho? Be totally honest. I was so hyped when Man United were targeting him. Eventually, when they signed him, I was so excited to see what he would become. But it's just like, I also think it's like right player, wrong time because of everything that transpired after he came. Like a couple of months later, Oli gets sacked. Ronaldo comes in that same summer, which changes complete trajectory of how the team is going to be and how the front line is going to be. I don't think I was that gassed. I wasn't as gassed as Pogba. I think, yeah, Pogba was hype. I don't think I'll ever... Pogba, I was as excited about Pogba as I probably was about RVP, which is crazy because I loved Pogba. But also RVP was just the icing on the cake for what United needed to send Alex Ferguson off. But yeah, it's unfortunate. Let's be honest. It's really unfortunate. I want to hear you guys' thoughts, by the way. on this guy here. You lot are probably thinking which guy, because there's like 4 guys in the picture. I'm talking about Casemiro. Eric Ten Hag, you know. Ruben Amorim on record yesterday talking about Casemiro. I don't know if you guys have seen it. I got the quotes. I thought I had the quotes here, but it looks like I do not have it. Nope, because I'm an idiot. But Ruben Amorim on tape yesterday saying that he didn't use Casemiro in his first couple of months because he felt like he didn't need him. But he's taken that criticism good, and he's been a good player. And it's also been suggested that Casemiro would like to play out the next year of football at Manchester United. And I don't want to, it's not really a redemption to me. It's not really like a redemption arc. For me, it's just you come in, you do the job. That's it. But a lot of Casemiro, I don't know if you lot remember, especially at the beginning of the season, Casemiro was scapegoated a lot under Eric Ten Hag. If you lot remember, he was scapegoated a lot. But I always used to say that Casemiro, his problems, or if you want to say that, or his deficiencies in that Eric Ten Hag system would happen regardless of any player you put in there. You could put a player at the best of the best, and they would have struggled in that Ten Hag system. Now, look at this. Tackles made per 90 for players who have played 1,000 minutes across Europe's top 5 leagues. And Casemiro is up there. Is that more of a reflection of the fact that Man United are always in defensive transition, or players are always putting a foot in? Or is that a reflection of Casemiro being good in his defensive duels? Because, again, I'm not going to sit here and act like Casemiro has been amazing. But what I like about Casemiro in recent times, and I'm talking about the last couple of months, he went from being shunned out by Ruben Amorim in the December times where we practically had no midfielders. Toby Collier was coming on ahead of him. And I say this all the time. When you come in terms of into the squad, I just want you to do a good job. That's it. I don't care who you are. You could be Harry Maguire, you could be Mason Mount, you could be Garnacho, you could be Onana, you could be Bayinda, you could be Lindelof. I don't care. Just come in and do your job properly. I will praise you for it if you're doing it well, but I won't be getting carried away with the plaudits. I won't be doing that. But I'll be honest, if Manchester United are looking at their deficiencies in the team, I think for me, something that stood out very highly so in terms of the derby yesterday was that United have no midfield maestro, if you want to call it that. They have no deep lying playmaker. They have no one that is able to connect the back line to the front line and progress the ball forward. They don't have that. And I'm talking about a Carrick, like what we had with Michael Carrick. I always say this, what we had with players historically, we took for granted because we still haven't replaced a player like Carrick in our midfield. And Carrick is now a manager. He's a football manager now. And we still haven't replaced him. It took us how long to replace our fullbacks? Sanderberg could have been purchased at 20 million. I said this after the Fulham game. in the FA Cup that I wish we had signed Sanderberg. And I remember, again, sitting here on camera, daily dose of Mina every day in the summer. It's going to come back again as well for the transfer window this year. But I sat here every day saying United should get Sanderberg and Fofana instead of signing just Ugarte. But if you watch Man United and you think our striker situation is the only problem, there's a reason why Bruno has to go and play in the deeper role, despite the fact that we've got Ugarte and Casemiro on the pitch. There's a reason why. It's very unfortunate, but I hope Man United can sign a midfielder in the window. But there we have it, guys. That's it for Daily Dose of Minna. We've had a lot to talk about. Sanderberg came from Burnley. Again, and at the time, I remember people were saying, why are we signing players from Burnley? Why don't we go and sign Zubimendi? Why are we signing someone who just got relegated, or Burnley got relegated? Or like, this idea that you can't get players from the Championship that are good quality is ridiculous. And that also shows that people don't watch the Championship and they're not familiar. Guys, in life, yeah, just not football, but in life, if you are ever asked about something and you don't know, rather than making yourself look silly, just say, I'm not qualified enough to speak about this. I don't. Like, there's nothing wrong with saying, okay, we are linked. Like, if we were linked to someone like in the championship or in a league that I don't watch, for example, perfect example is this guy right here. This guy right here is a perfect example, bro. I seen him once or twice watching Fiorentina, but again, I couldn't remember what his name was. But his name is Petro Cumuzo, 20-year-old. Manchester United are reportedly interested in signing him. He's a centre-back. And Man United have sent several scouts to watch him multiple times over recent games. Someone asked me about him, and I said, I'll be honest, I don't consistently watch Fiorentina or watch him to have an opinion on him, but I'll educate myself on him. That's it. That's all you have to say. So, and that's applicable to anything in life. Today, if someone comes to me and says, Mina, my blood pressure is so high, do you know what the problem is? I'm not a doctor. I'm not, even though I watch Grey's Anatomy and I think I could be a good surgeon if I tried it, I'm not gonna diagnose them with something. Same way, like if something's out of your expertise, just say it. I don't know, but I'll learn about it. And do the same with players. It's okay with that. You don't have to look down on players just because they're in the championship or they're in a league that, again, you're not familiar with. But there we have it, guys. There we have it. That is literally such a good rule. I swear someone must have wrote a book that says speak on it no matter what and it will look good, and it's the worst advice. Honestly, that's poor advice. But listen, guys, don't go anywhere. We've got Straight Jacket podcast now. I'm sure Nuruddin is going to be gassed about this Liam Delap stuff because he's the first person I've seen talking about Liam Delap for United back in, like, I want to say like November times. I think it was like November times. So we've got Straight Jacket podcast, and then after that, 7 o'clock, man, red carpet on United View. So make sure when you lot come to Saeed's chat, if you do come, it's going to redirect you there. Make sure you type in Minions Gang, and then on UV, make sure you type in Minions Gang. We will be back tomorrow as well with a daily dose of Mina and content every day during the week. So you guys know to turn on your post notifications, so when I go live, you will get notified. I hope you lot have a wonderful evening, guys. I'm out. Take care. Peace.